It's truly time to start preparing. So Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, yesterday shared they're going to pause rates. So people are excited about that. But we're going to break down what is actually happening. The problem with news headlines is that's all we read. We're trained to read the headline, respond, react, and go out there and make decisions without understanding what is actually happening. So my name is Coach JV. I work to make the complex simple. Not a financial advisor. I am a licensed insurance agent, and we help people understand how to rewire the foundation. That's the key. I want to talk to you about this for just a moment. Everybody's waiting for XRP to go to a certain amount or Bitcoin to go to 100,000 or a million or whatever it is. But nobody's telling you how to rewire the foundation. Wealthy people aren't sitting there hoping. They have a strategy. Wealthy people aren't sitting there hoping that their cryptocurrency or Shiba goes to the moon. What they're watching is our emotional reactions and buying our fear. Okay. And they're selling us when we're in euphoria. So I want you to think about that for just a moment. So, this moment right now, around June 15th to next year, is the most critical time for you to shift your family's timeline. So, if you came from poor parents, you have poor, deep rooted indoctrination, subconscious mind programming. If you came from rich parents and you're a multimillionaire, you're probably not watching this video. Or maybe you're in the middle class, like I grew up in, and we never talked about wealth. We didn't understand wealth at a deep level. So I had to rewire the foundation. I had to understand how the wealthy work and put a game plan in place. So cycle one was the first 2020 to 2022. We built the foundation, and now we're going into what we call cycle two, which is our 5 pillars of wealth. So what we basically have done is cryptocurrency is a very speculative asset that we are heavily invested in. But if it goes to zero, we're good to go because we set ourselves up outside of crypto. So we have diversified horizontally across different platforms. And what you can start to do is set up a game plan for yourself. Number one is you need to learn how to earn more. And often people think they need to trade more time for money. No, you need to understand how to create a budget, to create cash flow, to make your money become your employee. That's your number one move. Okay. Number two is you need to understand the mechanisms of money. You have fixed accounts, you have variable accounts, and then you have indexed accounts. What we're indoctrinated in is to put our money into a fixed account at the bank. They put it into a savings account, or they teach you to save your money, $20,000 in a savings account, and they give you 0.25% interest. Well, they take your fixed money that's taxed now, you're taxed on that 0.25%, and they take it and they lend it out. They put it in the capital markets, variable markets, and they index your money. So think about that. So we need to learn how to do the same thing and become your own bank. People call it infinity banking concept. There's many different ways. So that's what we teach. We don't share people, we're not investment advisors. We just share people the conceptual things of what we've done to help ourselves become our own ecosystem. And basically the next cycle, if and when, we believe when, but if crypto goes parabolic, which we believe it will, we're going to be pulling large amounts of profit out as you're getting excited and all your family members are going in, and we're going to be securing, we're going to be growing, and we're going to be multiplying. So if you want to figure out what the wealth game plan is and rewire the foundation, 7 days for free in 2023. We've helped over 6,000 warriors worldwide get their shit together in the great economic times. Description down below. All right, so let's dive right into this. So the Fed recap, breaking down the market's reaction to the Fed's pause, okay, key pause, and all of Powell's key comments. So the Federal Reserve held rates steady in June, keeping the benchmark funds rate at a range of 5% to 5.25. However, the central bank's dot plot indicates that 2 more hikes are ahead. At the press conference, Fed Jerome Powell said that the central bank will consider the cumulative impact of rate increases at the future meeting. The Fed hasn't yet made a decision on July's policy and move ahead. So, to me, with all the volatility within the markets, everybody moving to non-bank financial institutions, bank deposits going down, the capital markets all over leveraged right now, or overvalued, excuse me, if you look at the Warren Buffett indicator, we're in a really dangerous position. So their words matter to the market. Remember, our markets are emotional. You need to read the book Intelligent Investor. The markets are emotional. So they're trying to keep our emotions in check so there's not a big catastrophic collapse. Okay. Now let's listen to what he actually says. Okay. There's the words, there's the headlines, and then we have to actually watch the videos and listen to what they say. For example, this is on CNBC, and if you watch it on the actual website, there's only 4,600 people that have watched this. So think about that. What, 7.6 billion or 8 billion people in the world, and only 4,000 people have actually watched this. But millions and millions watch the headlines. So let's listen to what he has to say, and then I'll narrate and break down what I think is going to happen. Okay, number one is we need to start preparing because the job market, some of you may get laid off from your jobs. I was talking to somebody in our Gen Shifter yesterday. They said just recently, and he's in the medical industry, they laid off 100 people. Medical industry, guys. Tech industries are laying thousands and thousands of people off. AI is swooping in and taking your job. You better understand how money mechanisms work. Okay. Because all of a sudden, that's why UK is testing UBI right now, guys. It's coming. It's coming to America. So get prepared. Here we go.
Good afternoon. My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people.
Okay, so let's pause right there. I'm going to narrate through this. Okay, so maximum employment. So they basically control the job markets and money, right? The Federal Reserve, which is its own entity, right? It's a group of wealthy bankers. So basically, what they do is read the book Creature of Jekyll Island. This is how my whole journey started when I was in banking school. Okay, so, and I probably shouldn't have read that book while I was in banking school, but so basically what he said, their job is to control the stability of the markets. But when you raise interest rates, like they're pausing them right now to keep the markets calm, but listen to what he says to get us down to 2%. So when you raise interest rates, okay, money is no longer cheap, guys. It used to be very, very cheap for a company to borrow their way out. The government was buying junk bonds from their brothers and sisters, the big corporations, to keep them in line. They would basically buy the debt off of their system, free up some capital, and they could borrow at very, very cheap prices. Well, when money is expensive, what's your number one cost? Employees.
We understand the hardship that high inflation is causing, and we remain strongly committed to bringing inflation back down to our 2% goal. Price stability is the responsibility of the Federal Reserve. Without price stability, the economy doesn't work for anyone. In particular, without price stability, we will not achieve a sustained period of strong labor market conditions that benefit all. Since early last year,
this is where, like, if you guys understand throat chakras, he's really uncomfortable. He's in a comfortable position right now. Like, watch his responses and how he's responding to things, and go back a couple years and watch his videos and watch him now.
The FOMC has significantly tightened the stance of monetary policy. We have raised our policy interest rate by 5 percentage points, and we've continued to reduce our securities holdings at a brisk pace. We've covered a lot of ground, and the full effects of our tightening have yet to be felt.
Key, the full effects of our tightening are yet to be felt. This is why you have to go deeper than headlines. 4,000 people have watched this. Millions of people saw the headlines. Oh, they're pausing rates. He just said, we haven't even felt the effects of interest rate hikes. We're not even close. So when people comment on my videos and on TikTok, like, oh, nothing's happened that he said, I'm speaking future, guys. I started talking to you guys about this last June. Going back into the year, I said Q3, Q4, and here we are, guys.
In light of how far we've come in tightening policy, the uncertain lags with which monetary policy affects the economy, and potential headwinds from credit tightening, today we decided to leave our policy interest rate unchanged and to continue to reduce our securities holdings. Looking ahead, nearly all committee participants view it as likely that some further rate increases will be appropriate this year to bring inflation down to 2% over time.
Okay, so more rate hikes are coming. Okay, so they're going to cool it right now. We got a bunch of stuff going on. Trump's getting indicted, right? They had the Bill Hinman emails, all kinds of financial. We had banks bailing in. So first 2 quarters were rough, guys. Rough for the banking system. So like, let's pause for just a moment. Let's let the markets cool down a little bit. Let's not panic people, right? But remember, guys, they're cooling inflation, but now you can't even afford a home. You can't even service your debt. I mean, people can't borrow anymore. It's the American dream is dead.
And I will have more to say about monetary policy after briefly reviewing economic developments.
That throat chakra, baby. Pay attention.
The U.S. economy slowed significantly last year, and recent indicators suggest that economic activity has continued to expand at a modest pace. Although growth in consumer spending has picked up this year, activity in the housing sector remains weak, largely reflecting higher mortgage rates.
But he's giving us the blueprint, guys. Market. Okay, so let's break this down. So the mortgage markets are decreasing, right? Interest rates are too high. People can't afford. So we bought a 1,800 square foot single family home recently. 4,000 a month. 4 grand a month at the interest rates we sit right now. The normal everyday middle class person, $4,000 a month for an 1,800 square foot home in 2000, or excuse me, 5 years ago. A 1,800 square foot home was $1,200, guys, 2-3 years ago. So 1,200 to 4,000, and you're cooling inflation. You're going to give us some better egg prices and meat prices. You can't even afford to put a roof over your head. This is why you have to start preparing and understand the mechanisms of money.
Higher interest rates and slower output growth also appear to be weighing on business fixed investment. Committee participants generally expect subdued growth to continue. In our summary of economic projections, the median projection has real GDP growth at 1.0% this year and 1.1% next year, well below the median estimate of the longer run normal growth rate. The labor market remains very tight. Over the past 3 months, payroll job gains averaged a robust 283,000 jobs per month. The unemployment rate moved up but remained low in May at 3.7%. There are some signs that supply and demand in the labor market are coming into better balance. The labor force participation rate has moved up in recent months, particularly for individuals aged 25 to 54 years. Nominal wage growth has shown signs of easing, and job vacancies have declined so far this year. While the jobs to workers gap has declined, labor demand still substantially exceeds the supply of available workers. FOMC participants expect supply and demand conditions in the labor market to come into better balance over time, easing upward pressures on inflation. The median unemployment rate projection in the SEP rises to 4.1% at the end of this year and 4.5% at the end of next year. Inflation remains well above our longer run 2% goal. Over the 12 months ending in April, total PCE prices rose 4.4%, excluding the volatile food and energy categories. Core PCE prices rose 4.7%. In May, the 12-month change in the consumer price index came in at 4%, and the change in the core CPI was 5%.
Okay, so I'm going to leave it right there and I'm going to break this down. Okay. So what he's saying here is, okay, we're going to halt interest rates right now. The market's really, well, the traditional banking system's in a really dire position right now. Okay. They're worried about non-bank financial institutions. I keep bringing up the same examples. I repeat the same things over and over again because what you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes an unconscious activity. So we do the repetitive behaviors that we do now. We do our money the way that we do now because they've repeated certain things into our head. Go to school, get a job, get a 401k that is going to tax you when you're retired. Makes no sense, guys. Look at tax rates right now. They may seem high to you, but go look at 1980, 1970. Around 1980s, the tax rates for certain tax brackets was 50%. Okay. If you're in a certain tax bracket right now, they're about 33%, depending on what tax bracket you're in, the 1%, whatever it is, right? Go look at the historical guys. There's a discount on taxes right now. So what if taxes are 50% when you retire and you're taxed on the back end and you're penalized if you touch your 401k and your living benefits? Think about it. Everything's backwards. They're taking all your money and fixing it and locking it in, giving you nothing, and they're using your money. And they have no money. There's no money in the system. Your debt is my income. My debt is your income. So what he's sharing with us, yeah, they're going to pause rates right now, but the market's destroyed, guys. I just told you an 1,800 square foot home was about a $1,200 payment. It's about $3,800 to $4,000 a month. Think about that, depending on your down payment, right? So think about that for just a moment. So if a house has gone up that much and inflation went up a cumulative 17% in the last 24 months, if you made $100,000 a year in 2020, you now make $83,000 a year by doing nothing. And the mortgages went up from about 1,200, 1,800 to 4,000. Inflation is illegal taxation, guys. If they don't get you with interest rates, they're going to get you with inflation. If they don't get you with inflation, they're going to get you with interest rates. So what does this mean? We have to learn to take the hard-earned money that we have and learn how to make money when we sleep. There's multiple ways you can do that, okay? Number 1 is your money should always be in something that's compounding and growing, okay? It should never be sitting in something that isn't returning enough to you to even beat inflation, number 1, okay? Number 2, I don't know if you're going to beat inflation in some of these accounts. So, for example, everybody's banking. Let me break this down. Everybody's banking on crypto to get rich. Yeah, you're going to get rich, but if you haven't changed your habits and you haven't changed the foundation, you're going to chase the next pump and dump. That's all you're going to do. Cryptocurrency, if done correctly, and it goes the way we think it's going to go based on regulation, we're going to have a good amount of wealth coming in. That doesn't make you wealthy. You have money sitting there that is worthless. It's fiat. It's fake money. So taking that fake money and securing it in things like IUL, okay, Index Universal Life, that's what I focus on, and I'm licensed to help people now. So if you focus on IUL, we secure that wealth, right? We start to compound that wealth. And you can also, if you use the infinity banking concept, I highly recommend you all get this book, Becoming Your Own Banker, the infinity banking concept. Now you got to be disciplined, okay? But I'm focused on the tax-free growth on the back end, right? I'm taxed now on my money, and then I'm going to put it into a account that when I retire, I will no longer be taxed on that money. Okay. So that's number 1. Then it's also, if I have a cash value policy, I can borrow against that policy if I need to. It's instead of letting it sit in my bank account, I'm going to have it in a policy that I can lend from if I need to. I'm not going to be lending from my policy all the time, but that's there if I need it. So why would I sit it in a fixed account, a bank account that's giving me 0.25% when I could compound 6, 7, 8% on my money, have it access to it, and it has a death benefit. You're not in it for the death benefit, but it does. Then we get into real estate, right? We're focused on getting into real estate. I'm not a real estate expert. We have them inside of our academy, but then we focus on understanding as you learn to earn and you get more income coming in, you're going to have taxes, higher taxes. You need to create tax liabilities. And we have business and precious metals. There's so many different ways. So as we go into this new realm, everybody's teaching how to take action. Everybody's teaching how to get in these pump and dumps and these meme coins and all that stuff. That is a very addictive behavior. If anybody's teaching you addictive behaviors, you're going to be in the same cycle over and over again. Wealthy people aren't chasing meme coins. They're not worried about Shiba. They're not worried about Dogecoin. They're not worried about cryptocurrency being their retirement. They're using cryptocurrency and the emotional state of the markets and the market cycles to pull the wealth and to secure it into real world assets. Insurance has been here forever. Real estate has been here forever. Businesses and understanding in business, we're focused on data, information, and attention. We're not focused on industrial gas and oil, none of that stuff. We have a physical building. We don't even really need our physical building anymore, but we turned our physical building into a conference center. So we're using it for information and attention. So now we built a conference center. So we have these 2 big buildings. We're like, okay, so one's a fitness center and the other one's for information and attention. We bring people together to congregate and to learn and grow around financial wealth and mindset. So we turned everything we own into something that's going to be here in the future. We use social media like TikTok and Instagram to gain attention, to share information, to educate people. We're an education platform. That's what we do. Let's see what else. So precious metals, store of value, right? I use silver for barterability just in case something happens. And then real estate. I'm going to start getting into real estate because I understand it now. My favorite is IUL. I've been in my IUL policy for almost 3 years now. I ended up getting licensed. I'm starting my own insurance company. I'm obsessed with it because it's just so much fun to me. And go study what the Rockefellers. Just go study the Rockefellers in insurance. Go study some of the richest families in the world and how they leverage insurance. Well, why doesn't your bank teach you this? Guys, if you knew this, if you knew how to use insurance with cash value policies, you wouldn't use the bank anymore. You wouldn't even need the bank. You would just use it as a transitory account. But they do sell you life insurance. They do share you a premium that is going to secure your life. And there's nothing wrong with life insurance, insuring your life. But why don't they share with you these techniques because they're taking your hard-earned money in the fixed account and they're indexing it themselves. They're putting in the capital markets themselves. They're lending your money out. They're doing what we're doing with our money. So it's just education, right? It's not right for everybody, but it's just a different way of thinking, right? So for me, I kept going broke. So I had to rewire the foundation. And basically, that's where we're at. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. As we always say, Warriors, rise, get your shit together. Let's go. Everything you need is description down below. We also have our free meet and greet coming up July 15th. I'd love to meet you in person. You do have to RSVP, and we are at max capacity, but we're just keep taking more people. Love you guys.